On today's episode of Watch JR Go, we're here to buy a car that's mostly thermoformed plastic. Some of you, well, most of you, should remember this car. What is going on, guys? I am Watch JR Go, and today I just bought a 2002 Saturn SC2, the coupe, dual overhead cam. That's what the 2 is there for. And it was $700. I'm super pumped about this. Take a look at this car. It's pretty straight. I just noticed that on the bumper. But for the most part, this thing looks great. The tires are in good shape. The exterior is in good shape. It's literally, somebody just bought it and then the clutch went out. So we just pushed it on the trailer and we're gonna drive it back to the shop right now. And once we get to the shop, we'll check this thing out for real. Take you on a tour of a Saturn SC2 and you guys can relive the memories if you were part of this generation that knows how awesome these cars are. And if not, you get to meet one of the economy cars that changed America. Ah yes, the workhorse. And Jason, who helped push it on. You guys remember Jason. One night we picked up his 3/4 ton Suburban with nothing but this trailer and a come along, and it took us like 4 hours to load the thing. The brakes were stuck on. It was not a fun night, but we got it done. Back in the shop now with my 2002, wait, scratch that. It said that on the Facebook ad. It's a 2001 Saturn SC2, the Saturn coupe. Now, I had to go look at the date of manufacture. It's 07 of 2000, and I was like, 2002 does not make any sense. Then we found the registration, and it clearly says the car is an 01. But that doesn't matter. I was a little excited about having the very last year. 2002 is the last year they made the 3rd generation SC, and it would have been kind of cool to have the last one. But 01 is close enough, honestly. And I think the more I look around this car, the more mind blown I am that I just bought this car for $700, especially in a day and age where anything that runs and drives, like minimum, is worth $1,500. But this one, I feel like this car is worth a ton of money. We're probably going to end up asking $3,000 just from me looking around the thing and seeing, you know, how great this car is, how well maintained I think it was. But first, we got quite a few things to fix. I'm only throwing out the numbers now because I want you guys to see the upside in this car and then hopefully appreciate it just as much as I do. So, if you just take a look at it while we're standing back here, just look how good it looks. What a great looking car. Saturn really wanted to be a Japanese automaker, basically, and they tried to build their cars alike the Japanese cars, but by the end of their run, they had kind of turned back into GM, and they had kind of found their own way as far as I'm concerned. I think this car looks incredible. It's a good looking coupe. Not only is it a coupe, it's a 3-door like the Veloster, and we'll open up the 3rd door. Yes, I know the seat's ripped, but we'll get into what's wrong with it later. Check it out. Super easy access to the back. It's easy to use, easy to get in. It was a solid economy car for what it was, but this one has quite a few options. So this car is an SC2 Package 2, which means it has power locks, power windows, cruise control. I think it might, the manuals really couldn't have traction control back then. That would have been unheard of. But it also added a power right mirror, which was weirdly an option. I don't have the sunroof, but this thing has a lot of options for what it is. It also has CD and cassette, and a lot of them only got CD, which adding cassette was an option. Kind of weird, but I guess back then, we didn't have good infotainment. We really didn't have much. So this car gave you everything you needed and nothing else. And it gave you everything you needed around, I don't know the exact MSRP of this one, but like loaded would have been about $18,000, $19,000 with a manual. I think this one, with just kind of how it's optioned, would have been about a $17,000 car. And those cars are all gone now. You basically can't run out and buy a sub $20,000 car in 2021. They are gone, which I get it. It's unfortunate, but cars now come standard with basically everything. Like the cheapest Econo boxes out there now are very good cars. In 2001, this was not the cheapest Econo box there was. This was actually a good car. It didn't have a lot of frills or anything like that, but it would one of those cars that just always gets you home with a solid drivetrain at a very reasonable price. Like I mentioned, all of the panels are plastic and not structural, as the car is built around a space frame that holds everything together. The exterior panels don't actually support the weight of the car or anything like that. So if something happens, you can see this is all just hollow plastic, and you can unbolt it all with some Torx heads there. We should be able to see the fasteners. There you go. Pull off the entire panel that breaks, slap a new one on, and your car is back together. No worse for the wear. And they come pre-painted too. These panels came painted, ready to drop onto the car. So if I kicked a hole in this door right now, I could literally run to the salvage yard for probably $50, grab a new door panel, slap it on there, and I'd have a fixed door. Not only are they super easy to repair, they're also very, very dent resistant. I could probably hit that with a sledgehammer and I doubt it would break. They actually had demos of these things where you could jump on the panels and it wouldn't crack the paint, it wouldn't break the panel. I mean, really, really cool engineering. These cars, I think they were ahead of their time, and unfortunately, now they're all gone. Like, they don't make cars like this anymore. It's all gone back to being sheet metal or aluminum, and at least sheet metal can be easily repaired. We fixed a bunch of the Diamante earlier with a sledgehammer and a 2x4. All of the bent stuff, if I did that on my F-250, it would never come back. Plastic was a whole nother thing. I mean, anything that went wrong, it was a quick replacement. You could give them to your teenagers, whatever you wanted, and know that whatever they did to the car, it would not have been a big deal. Now, what's crazy about this one is it has perfect wheels. Perfect wheels. There's no curb rash. All of this is going to clean up. It's all just brake dust. If you look at that, I think this car was super well maintained. The fog lights are perfect. Sure, the headlights are trash. It's got a little dent on the bumper that could probably be pushed out with some heat. You can see it had the old deer whistles down there on the bottom. We've got perfect wheels all the way around. No other real body damage except for some rub marks on the back bumper. So let's talk about why I got it so cheap. There's no clutch. No clutch at all. The ad said no clutch. There's a chance it's CVs, but I'm pretty sure it's a clutch. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick demo of what this does when you try to put it in gear. This is the 5-speed manual variant, which is honestly super nice. I've driven these. It's a dual overhead cam, 1.9 liter engine. Here, I'll show you the engine real quick before we start it up. It makes, what, 124 horsepower, 122 foot-pounds of torque. Whoa. Well, the hood liner's falling down there, but everything else looks great. Plastic valve cover, so it always looks good on these cars. Some of the early plastic valve covers. We've got a nice electronic coil pack down there. This was a little before pencil coils or coil on plug, but hey, individual coils that are mounted down there on the block. I'm cool with that. Easy to work on and a billion times better than any distributor. Computers mounted where it's easy to be, everything was easy to fix on these. And not to mention being easy to fix for a mechanic, these things were very owner repair centric as well. It has the oil life reset procedure written right there on the fuse box. The manual shows you how to check the oil, change the oil. It shows you how to change the transmission fluid. When do you ever see a manual these days that shows you how to service your transmission fluid? It's full color on these too. Really crazy. Anyway, that's what it looks like under the hood. And you know, always impressive that a car company was building cars in 2001 and recommending owners work on them. Now, like, it's the last thing any manufacturer wants. They just want to get the service money. Saturn really was its own thing, and they kind of just kept doing their thing forever. They didn't care about anyone else. The gauge complement is simple: fuel, speedometer, tach, and a temp gauge there. The guy I bought it from tells me that heat works, air works, cruise lights up. It's got fog lights, and it appears the fog lights both work. Wow, everything works in this car. So we're gonna start it up now and you'll know immediately why I got it for $700. It sounds like a tractor. So apparently the cat got cut off while this car was on the side of the road because the clutch went out, so he couldn't get it into gear anymore. So here's reverse. There's first. It's actually moving in first. All right, I'll be nice to the transmission now. But yeah, there's no clutch and there's literally no connection to the engine at all. It's sitting there just barely rubbing. I'd assume the pressure plate's trash, clutch is trash, the flywheel's probably toast. I would say everything in there is completely gone because we tried to start it in gear to get it on the trailer. No. So usually when a clutch starts going out, you can still at least like start it in first, let the clutch out real fast, drive it on and shut it off. No go. This one is fully gone. So we've got a little bit of a felony forest starting out there. We got some necklaces. This thing's full of junk. It's honestly pretty gross, but it doesn't make sense. I honestly think this car's condition started deteriorating with like maybe the last owner or something like that, or the one before the last owner. It's full of change, which is cool. And there's tons of water bottles. This is the actual tag for the car. It looks like some fast food. Oh, these have the sliding armrest, if I remember right. So the sliding armrest was a bit of an upgrade. All we've got in the center is change. And I don't know if this slides or not. I'm pushing as hard as I can, and it's not sliding. Change holder there, very nasty. Electronic mirror controls, windows in the center, CD player, cassette, all that good stuff. Seems like there's no CD in there. In the back, we've got plenty of room. Honestly, a pretty comfy place to sit. Some kind of weird shelf. I don't know what this is. No idea what that is. It's got handles on it or something. Here we've got more cup holders and possibly also a CD holder, cassette holder. I don't know, kind of weird. More cup holders, lots of cup holders. I'm kind of impressed by that. A bunch of trash in the car. Somehow the carpets are absolutely ruined, but the seats are in pretty good shape. I don't know what happened to the carpets in here. I have seen a lot of SC2s with some strange sun fade on their carpets. I might order the carpets on Amazon and get after replacing them. Got the Modelo in there, the swishers, some bank account statements. I'm not gonna flip those over. It's just kind of full of trash. Let's take a look in the glove box here. Registration, the owner's manual, 2001 S Series owner's manual. So let's open up the owner's manual, take a look at this. I'll show you guys some of these repair procedures. Look at this, how to solve problems on the road. Where do you see that? You don't. That's the answer. How to tow it, what happens if your engine's overheating, if you're stuck, how to free your car. This is all how to service your car, how to add engine oil, how to change your transmission fluid. Unbelievable. It says to use deck school. We don't do that anymore. We've got receipts, $500 of work right off the bat. Serpentine belts and idler pulleys. F-250 pickup filter kit, weird. $1,200 with $100 off for some reason. This one says they replaced the power steering rack, power steering gear assembly for $225, and then gear assembly for $800. I think this has a new transmission. Steering gear, $80, fluid, hydraulic, replace blower fan, $38, replace motor mounts, motor mount assembly. So many receipts, $46, $275 for 60,000 mile maintenance and inspecting everything. So many receipts. Look at this, the 3,000 mile service is on there. A well-documented Saturn SC2 with a pretty straight body and a really, really good engine. If you've ever driven one of these, you know how much fun it is to drive with this engine. It doesn't make a lot of horsepower, but it's also super light. These things weigh mid 2000s, so like 2,500 pounds, something like that, with about 124 horsepower. Super, super fun to drive around because you can kind of throw them through corners. And honestly, they had some racing heritage too. There was a bunch of SCCA racing that was done with these things, and there's people out autocrossing them every weekend. You see them out trying to hang with the Miatas. Really, really cool. So I think I got a smoking deal on this thing. This is a car that can absolutely be saved, and honestly, one of these sold for like $6,000 on Bring a Trailer recently. So I'm pretty sure if I have that bolster fixed, clean the carpets, and put headlights in it, the headlights are gone. Take a look at the headlights. They actually look like, I mean, those are gone. I think just fixing the clutch and those few things, this is a perfect car for somebody, and it would have no problem going down the road for a long, long time. It only has 138,000 miles on it, and I've seen plenty of these with 300,000 on the clock. So next up, I'm gonna start rescuing this SC2 that was a random Facebook find for an incredibly good deal. It had been for sale for weeks, and I can't believe I got it this cheap. Especially for one with original wheels that still have the paint and the clear coat on them. So hard to find. A lot of that GM clear failed, so this one must have been kept inside its whole life. Somebody really took care of it until recently. What a ripper. This thing has 6 cup holders. I'm impressed. 6 cup holders in 2001. They were way ahead of their time innovating like that. Fun little car. I can't wait to get it fixed and take it for a drive. And it should not take long. It really should be no big deal. I know for a lot of you, this car will bring back a lot of memories. These were some of the most fun days of Saturn and the most fun cars to play with, and where all the shenanigans happened in cars like this back in the day. So it's definitely a beloved car in many people's minds. Now, of course, we have some of the last Saturns over here. The very last Saturns were built in, I think, 2009 was when they shut down the assembly line. That was a Spring Hill, Tennessee car. I think this one may have been as well. It was definitely built here. It's got a 1-VIN. This is my old Sky Redline. I love this too. Now it's Gabe's, and we put a big turbo on it and it blew up shortly after. So we're gonna work on this one of these days when Gabe's foot heals back up. But we've got a few Saturns around here, and I truly appreciate what they did for cars in general. It may have seemed like a misstep, but I think this changed cars for the better, top to bottom. A lot of things have gone on to follow the Saturn model. They're just not as cool as all plastic body panels. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjaguar.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. It's also super nice that they only weigh 2,500 pounds because we pushed this on the trailer. It was running, of course, but it did not help us out at all. How's this for a hoopty? Massive repairability, super cheap car, and it's going to be super cheap to put back on the road. I think it checks all the boxes. I've already looked up quite a few of the parts. I don't know exactly what I need yet. It hasn't been on a lift. I haven't inspected it, but I do know that a clutch with the pressure plate and the flywheel is only $300, and the entire exhaust from the downpipe to the back is only $243. Some of them might be $169, like really cheap. And I think we can have this seat reupholstered at a friend of mine's upholstery shop for probably $100 to dump those stitches there and stitch in a new panel with some filler foam. So there's a chance we can completely save this car for less than $1,500, which would be amazing.